Greetings everyone, and welcome to Keeping Up with Papa Life After Work, where we find out how one man manages to keep himself busy, physically active, and mentally engaged after retirement with projects. Today's project? Well, I am off on a test run, a 2-day camping trip with our still being refurbished 2006 Fleetwood Niagara pop-up camper. Check it out. We're here to be recently bloody. Oh, thank you. I saw him. Welcome back, and how about a little bit of a backstory? Now, if you've watched my previous pop-up camper video, you're aware that we recently bought a now 19-year-old high-side pop-up camper. Why? Well, I wanted something that was small enough that I could pull it behind the Jeep, but still large enough to have a bathroom and a shower in it. This fit the bill perfectly. Unfortunately, it came with its own set of issues. Most of those have been worked through already. So it is time for a real-world test. With that in mind, I have booked a couple of nights at a local state park, and I'll be spending the next 2 days checking out all the old repairs that I've made and keeping an eye out for any new issues, new problems that I may have missed previously. That's it. Let's get started. And by the way, the brake work I did worked really well. It's not perfect, you still can't lock it up, but turned up almost all the way. It really grabs well now, and that's all I really wanted to have happen for the time being. Eventually we'll put in new brakes across the board. On second thought, the brakes are not quite up to what I would like. They are working better, no doubt about it, but even fully jacked up to 14 on the controller, they just slow you down a little bit. They don't slow you down well. Our first camper was actually a casita, which was about the same size as this and same weight, but I had a great deal of trouble dialing down the brakes on that to where they wouldn't lock up. They locked up really easily. I think new brakes are well in order for this one. Sand Hill Loop, we are looking for number 4. Number 4. All right. See if we can back in without any incident occurring. Normally I'm backing in a 23-foot camper behind a Ram 2500. This is a lot easier. Fine. That corner could come up 3/8 or a half of an inch, and that's it. Good shape. Pretty level, so I think I'm just going to chop one wheel in both directions. need to check level fore to aft. I started off checking it on the frame, which you would think would be good, but wow, that's way off of level. So I tried a couple of spots on the body, and down here on the inside, I got to drop the nose a little bit. Right here, I need to drop the nose a little bit. And over here, on the edge of the door, yeah, I need to drop the nose a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe using the body versus the frame is the right thing to do. Really would need a long level to get it completely accurate, but no point in doing that. This is a test run. Not too far. It looks good. That looks better. I'm well anchored. Time to pop her up. Four latches. Don't believe I'm forgetting anything. Push button would be nice. Not really necessary. This is a mild workout. Almost there. That's it. Well, here's problem number one that I'm going to have to address very soon, and that is that this is incorrect. It should be over here, and it should be open on one end. And what happens is this gets jammed and won't move out of the way. So I need, because it's in the wrong spot. So I need to address that here before too long. This time it worked out okay. I spoke too soon. This one, on the other hand, does what it's supposed to do. And again, I make a liar out of myself. Drop that down, pop that in there, up, and she's locked. Very nice. Over here it's a little nose high. This has changed, by the way. A little bit nose high. A little bit nose high. Coming down here, it is a lot nose high. And down here it's a lot nose high. So I'm wondering if just maybe the best thing to do is try it on the floor. Tiny bit nose high. I'll drop it just a touch and we'll stick with what the floor says. One thing I didn't think of before I parked was the slide out and this post. However, I do have plenty of room. Perfect. Sweet. Haven't quite figured this thing out completely yet. This seems like an accident waiting to happen, and I expect it is. There has to be a better way. But the design is pretty darn impressive. From outside, you have to Velcro here. I can tell I'm cocked in this direction. Well, there's no fixing it now. This thing, by the way, was very clean about 4 weeks ago, and then pollen season came along. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but we have a nice dusty yellow tinge. Last thing to do, power and water. Now, usually the very first thing I do in our other camper when I get to a campsite is I check that power box to make sure it's working. There's nothing more disheartening than pulling up to a campsite, doing the entire setup, and do what I'm about to do, which is test my power and realize that the power pedestal's shot. Something's wrong with it. Hopefully that's not the case here. Didn't check the water either, might as well do that. Check inside and see if the microwave came on. Yep, it's on. Good.
I bought myself a nice right angle pressure reducer. Gotta figure out where I put it. For the time being, we'll keep this one here. Use it. Should be fine. Perfect. The sink in here is in the way of the bunk that comes in from the far side. It's not supposed to be. The original fittings on it were not in the way, but someone's put a new faucet on since then, and so I have to open up the cold water valve before I can actually close the bunk. I need to make sure I turn that off before I turn the water on. One last thing I need to consider is that there's no gray water tank on board here. There is a black water tank of about 7 gallons, and that will get me through a few days. I think back in 2006 when this was built, and 2007, by the way, was the first year they put gray water tanks on from what my research shows. So I missed that. My choices are to dump it on the ground, which most campsites don't allow that, to put it into the septic system, which there's none at this site, so I can't do that. Or just kind of fill it up partially and then it'll back up into the shower, and that's a bad idea. Or use a honey pot, and I brought a 21 gallon tote with me. So my intention is to hook that up because I would like to actually take a shower here and see how well that works. So that's something I'll probably do either later this evening or sometime tomorrow. What's left? Well, I need to put a few things away, grab the groceries and put them up, bring a chair out here and maybe a nice ice cold drink and sit out here and enjoy the evening. So far, so good. One thing I could do, by the way, if this is cocked a little bit to one side, and I wanted to badly enough, I could bring that front bunk in a little bit, hook back up, and level it. It's just me by myself. It's not worth the trouble. I am going to have to start bringing, I think, a longer level so I get a better idea of just how level I am before I unhook. One important question is, do we need blackout curtains? Now the ends where the beds are, those are the factory curtains that are up and they give you a fair amount of privacy. Here, these are also the factory curtains, but they're relatively sheer. If someone were standing back there, you would be able to see a silhouette through that. And whether or not that's important, I'm not really sure. At this point, I don't think I'm planning on putting up blackout curtains. However, I do need to replace the curtains, so when I do, something a little bit less sheer is in order. Problems being exposed, and this is good. This is why I'm doing this little test run. I am leaning a little bit to the left rear on my setup on the leveling. So water is settling down here in the bottom of the shower. However, I haven't taken a shower yet. What I have is a leaking valve here at the toilet. So it's not a really big deal, but it would be nice to get that resolved later. A problem without an immediate solution. This is the Tote, what they call a honey pot, and you'll see here that the outlet on the camper is actually lower than the inlet on the tank. So when I take a shower, it's going to drain up to a certain point right there and then just sit until enough water comes into it to flow up over this bend in the hose, and that is, I'm thinking, above the level of the shower pan. It'll be really close anyways, probably just a little bit below. I think I'll test it first with the sink. I had read about this and was hoping that it wouldn't really be an issue. And the way most people have gotten around it is they've lifted the camper. Okay, the sink is running. Gray water valve is open. It is in fact backing up as expected. I wonder if I reverse this around, if that would make any difference. Well, it's not yet backing up into the shower. Good sign. And it's not backing up into the sink. Good sign. This was fairly obvious after the fact, but if I reverse this around, I can now see water coming into the tank, so I know that I have water coming in. So that's good. And then I have a leak here. It's just fresh water, so it's not that big of a deal, but something I'll have to address later. Just took the first ever shower. That went better than expected. Really did. It was very comfortable. And I do have puddling down here, but I didn't fill up. So the drain is working. That's really, really good news. Heater time. Time to work on the heater. So I started a couple of minutes ago, and I had done a little bit of reading on this, and the previous owner had told me that the heater didn't work at all and needed to be replaced. So from the reading I've done of where you need to start is with the thermostat. This is where you change your temperature setting. This switch is the on-off switch, and it was turned off. And I couldn't budge it, and tinkered with it a little bit and turned it and flipped it. Finally pushed it hard enough that it went from off to on, and hey, the heater fired right up. It is pumping hot air, smelly hot air, but hot air right now. Question is, if I drop this down, will it turn itself off? It should continue to cycle until it blows a lot of the hot air out, then turn off. If it doesn't work, that's the thermostat issue, and these are easy to replace. In fact, they make a very nice digital one that I can put in. Still running. Ah, there it goes. Turned itself off. I think the heater's fine. It just makes a little bit of noise. All right, I have. I'm going to turn the temperature back up. There it goes. Wow. Great. Turn it back down. And shoot. That's the off position. Question I had was, how well is the refrigerator cooling? Well, it's set right now on 120, and it's set as cold as it can get. Yesterday it wasn't getting as cold as I thought it probably should. So today I stopped and got a thermometer, a fridge thermometer from home, and I tried it inside the bottom of the fridge area, and it came in at 40 degrees. I've got it set on full, like I said. So I stuck it here in the freezer, and it is, oh, it's hard to read. There you go. It is saying, wow, what's that say? 10? Okay, so I would say that's plenty cold enough. I should probably kick it back up to something a little bit less aggressive. Freezer and fridge are working great. Another point of interest, how well is the air conditioner working? Well, it is most definitely working. It's not working quite as well as I had hoped. I've been running it for the last hour on low. It's about 85 degrees outside right now, so obviously I'm in mostly full sun. The camper's heating up quite a bit. It's off at the moment. Not quite getting it down to what I would consider to be nice and cool. So I'm gonna do two things. One is I'm gonna run it on high for a while, and two, I'm going to finish closing all the windows and see how it works. Maybe that'll help. Confirming that the AC is working well. I put it on high. After about 20 minutes, it got the room cold. So cold, in fact, I had to put it back down on low and lower the temperature. Seems to be working great. I stopped by the house earlier and I picked up a 2-foot long level. So inside towards the front, most definitely the left side of the camper needs to come up an inch or two. Middle of the camper, the left side of the camper needs to come up a lot more than an inch or two. Back end of the camper. The camper needs to come up an inch or two on that low side. How about the slide? Well, the slide is pretty much just buried off the charts. It most definitely leans more than the left side of the camper does. Not quite sure what to do about that one. We just saw how inside the camper we have 3 different readings in 3 different locations on just how far off we are from level. So I've got to find a good spot that's near the crank that will tell me level or not. Well, this level bubble here is pretty close to what I saw inside. So when I'm actually first parking, I should be able to use this location, give myself a pretty good idea whether or not I am level to port and to starboard. Fore and aft, that's front to rear, I'm in pretty good shape after making some adjustments yesterday. So this is near the front of the camper. This is the middle of the camper. That looks really good. And the back end of the camper, we look good as well. And in the door, we look pretty good. This shows me being a little bit high on the front, but it's relatively trivial. So I should be able to just stick this long level in here and use this as my reading for sitting fore and aft. Getting ready to break camp this morning, I walked outside and see that I have a leak coming out of the corner right next to the water heater, where I have a connection issue that keeps popping up. I guess it's back. Yep, there is the leak in all its glory. If you recall from my previous video, I worked on this to fix it, and it's just not wanting to stay away. This is one thing I was concerned might come back. I don't think I can tighten that anymore, but it's worth a shot. That is as tight as it gets. It's completely compressed and it's still leaking. I think about the only thing I can think of is when I get home is to put some pipe dope on it. And that might seal it up. Worth a shot. The concept of the 21-gallon water tote, honey pot, working out really well. Time now to go and dump it. Something I've actually never done with this before, so it'll be interesting to see how well it works. I think what I'll do initially here is close that valve. There is some water in the lines. See if I can get what's in here, or as much as possible, out, because I'm going to have a spill issue, and I'd like to minimize that as much as possible. Now it's just, in this case, it's just dishwater and shower water, so it's not that big of a deal. And also, I'm not wearing gloves because, again, it's just dishwater and shower water. When I go and change this or dump this at the dump station for the black tank, definitely will be wearing gloves. That worked pretty well. Water is backed up in the lines. Not too much though. Again, very pleased with this. Worked out great. This is how you get it there. Hope it works. Probably should be wearing gloves. Ugh. It's a good 2 miles from the campsite to here. Long drive pulling this thing. I've been thinking the whole time, you know, these wheels gonna make it? Is their wheel gonna fall off? Seem to do okay. It's not exactly a high-tech version of greasable bearings. Vent cap. When I get this home, I'll rinse it out really well, let it dry before putting it away. Whole thing now just goes back in the Jeep. One little project I had hoped to complete during this trip was getting this zipper unstuck. I've tried multiple things. It's lined up properly. At least appears to be. There's some staining around it, which I don't know, might be glue or construction glue from that. Whoever did a lot of construction glue work previously. This one works just fine up here. I just cannot get this one open. And I'm afraid to really pull on it too much because I don't want to rip it. I've even put a heat gun on it to try to loosen it up. No luck. This is either going to work or it's going to be a disaster. It moved one tooth. I don't feel anything stuck in there. Oh yeah. I think cloth right there is in it. Let me get a flashlight. It's corroded pretty bad. Yeah, the other one's not corroded nearly as badly. No, I don't really see anything stuck in there. That would be too easy. I even put WD-40 on it. You know, that magic stuff. And it didn't do any good. Which, by the way, I should do again after I get home. You can also buy a zipper lubricant. I don't think it's anything more than wax. Check that out. At least it moved a little bit. Oh my gosh. Let's see what will zip. The question is, will it go past this point? Zipper's kind of ragged up there. Maybe asking for, you know what? Forget that. I'll lubricate it really well. Use the other zipper up to here. But we just won't zip it past that point until I have a chance to work on it a little more. Wow. Congratulations to me. Excellent. One of the interesting mysteries on this camper is the outdoor shower. Here are the lines that feed from the outdoor shower over there. Go down under here, and I'm not quite sure where they go, but on that end, they go to nothing. There's a shower head, no nothing. They're just empty and sitting there. So why isn't water just pouring out of those all the time? Well, there must be some kind of valve somewhere between here and wherever they hook up. So right now, I'm going to see if I can trace these down and see what's going on. Mystery solved. And by the way, this is way too much trouble to crawl back under there and show you. There are feed lines that normally come up through the floor and up to that shower unit. Well, those feed lines have been cut and respliced underneath the camper, and the lines coming from the shower head, the outdoor shower head, those holes that are in the floor have been plugged full of some sort of spray foam insulation. So the entire assembly has been moved. My guess is it failed at some point in the past, and rather than replace it, they just cut the whole thing out. Relatively easy to fix if I want an outdoor shower. Shouldn't be a problem at all. We'll see. So what happens next? Well, physically, the camper is in fantastic condition, much better than I expected to be. All subsystems are 100% working really, really well. A few minor tweaks still need to be done, but from the perspective of usability, it's there. It's usable right now as is. So the next question becomes cosmetics. Now, cosmetics are important for two reasons. One, I had intended to rent this out, and if you rent it out, it's got to be pretty. And the other is that from a friends and family perspective, when others besides myself use the camper, it'd be nice if it was really pretty inside and out. The rental side of it, it turns out that there's not a really big market for pop-up campers on Outdoorsy or on RV Share. I checked both of them, and they're there, but they don't have a lot of bookings. I think pop-ups are kind of complicated, so most people probably wouldn't want to use them if they could use just a box camper. So I'm less concerned about cosmetics from that perspective than I was when I first started out. Cosmetically, what needs to be done? Well, the curtains. All the curtains need to be replaced. There are valances that are supposed to be around the entire camper. None of those are there. The roof up here has some cosmetic damage to it. The cabinets on the inside, they're chipped. The doors are warped. There's a lot of stuff that just needs to be repaired and filled. And if I do all of that, I then have to paint the cabinets. The countertops need to be replaced as well. They're in pretty sad shape. The outside of the camper, the box has dents on both ends. And those need to be knocked out and fixed. And if I do all of that, I need to paint the outside of the camper. The top needs to be painted as well. So there is still a lot of work from that perspective that needs to be done. On the other hand, if I'm just using it and if family is just using it and it's completely 100% fully functional, is all of that necessary? Probably not. Will I do it anyway? Probably so. I guess time will tell. Well, that's it. Another project completed. Time to pack up and break camp and I guess head on home and start on some other projects lined up right behind this one. As usual, questions and comments are welcome, and please remember to like and share and subscribe. I will see you next time on Keeping Up with Papa, Life After Work. Papa out.